Hi, welcome back to A Moment with Marta. So today I want to talk about anxiety and depression. Can be a big package deal when it comes to living with autism. And I know that I've kind of talked a little bit about anxiety in that some of the feelings that go along with it and the need for there to be routine or the struggles with change, but they're also for some individuals like me and my two kids, there's perfectionism, and it's not perfectionism that is I'm going to do my best. I'm really focused to detail, and it's a really good thing. It's I recently just read an article that our speech therapist sent to me, and it was very illuminating. It was talking about dysfunctional perfectionism, which is certainly what we all three of us live with, where there are impossibly high standards of perfections that are set in our own minds and are impossible for us to attain. And then when we don't attain it, whether it's doing a math problem or it's passing something and it dropping, or something in the schedule not going quite right according to plan, any sort of mistake that's made, it's repeated over and over and over in our brains, and we just ruminate on it. And there's no amount of distractions that can get us to stop thinking about it. It's a thing where it's so strange, but we're both anxious and then down at the same time. It's kind of like when you have really bad allergies and your eyes feel really dry and scratchy and yet they're watery. It makes no sense. Or you have a really bad head cold and you're stopped up and you can't breathe, but you're constantly having to blow your nose. It makes no sense. So anxiety and depression are polar opposites, but they kind of go hand in hand in that same way, because when something isn't completely perfect, then for me and for my kids, it's a thing where we're very anxious about it, but we also are just thrown into just the depths of depression and despair. And we're not lashing out at others, but we're lashing out at ourselves. And sometimes that's just mentally, by constantly replaying over and over and over the mistake that was made. For some kids, it can even be physical. It can be self-injurious behavior, because they're so broken up about the mistake that they made. They're literally beating themselves up about it. And so anxiety, you just feel sick to your stomach. Your heart is beating so fast that you can hardly breathe, which could lead to a panic attack. And you're just constantly tense and taut, and you can't relax no matter what you're trying to do, whether you try to listen to music or try to get your mind off of it. And then with the depression, it's like you're in the ocean and you have no life vest and you're just treading water, and you're just constantly trying to keep your head above, and waves are just crashing over you, just crashing, and you just feel yourself being pulled down. So that's what it feels like. And I go through periods. I'm going through a period right now where I'm really struggling with anxiety and depression, and it's something that mental health doesn't get talked about enough, but I want to be open and vulnerable about it, because I know that I'm not the only one that is feeling it or that's living with it. Whether you're on the spectrum or not, lots of people out there have anxiety and depression, and both. So it's a thing where somebody could say something about whatever mistake that you made, and the words, like, I literally feel the words just cutting into my heart. My heart aches and it hurts and it's heavy, and I feel as if I've just lost my smile. And it's not a thing where I can just be upset and get over it. It's a thing where I can try try to distract myself. I can try to get myself involved in other tasks or activities, but at some point my mind just wanders back to it, and it just ruminates on it, and I picture it. I picture whatever the mistake is, if it was written, if it was something I said, if it was something that somebody pointed out. I hear the words, I replay them over and over again in my head, and I can't get them out. And it could take hours, it could take a full day, it could take days. I go through these bouts, and I'm still learning some about myself and the way that my mind is processing things and the way that it's working. So I haven't figured out the best coping mechanisms yet, although there is some literature out there that I am trying to read up on in efforts to help myself, to help my kids. Because this kind of perfectionism is dysfunctional, and it causes anxiety, and it causes depression, and it causes, kids to maybe not want to try something because it's driven by fear, or if you don't know how to ask for help. I remember as a kid in school struggling with that, not understanding the directions, but not knowing that that was an option, that I could ask for help. And so I just sat there, and I was so afraid of making a mistake. And there are times where, I've been so scared of trying something new because I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what the parameters are. I don't know how I'm going to do it, and it's not going to be perfect the first try. And logically, I know that's not realistic, but the way that my brain is wired, and it doesn't matter. It's not realistic, and it's not logical. It's chemical. And so, you can't tell somebody with autism that's struggling with anxiety, well, just relax, or with depression, well, you need to just think about something else, because that's not the way that our brains work. There's some techniques out there, tapping techniques, that are supposed to be really helpful for trying to kind of interrupt those brain patterns. And then, of course, trying to constantly be positive about the progress that you're making. Those types of things are supposed to be really good steps. Again, I'm a work in progress. I'm not there yet. I don't know everything that there is to know, but what I do want to know, what I do want to do is share what it feels like, and why it can be a real struggle. And for kids, that internal feelings like that are hard anyway for children. But for children that struggle to be able to communicate, they can't tell somebody that they feel anxious. It might be that their stomach hurts, or their stomach feels sick, or they feel angry, or they feel afraid, or they're, over planning, or maybe they're procrastinating because they're so worried about not being perfect that they're just going to the other extreme and procrastinating. And it's not a non-compliance thing, it's an anxiety thing. And so the best advice I can give at this moment in time, as I am continuing to learn about this myself, is to be patient, to extend grace, to show compassion and love, and encourage through the process. Don't unintentionally positively reinforce the behavior by only praising the high efforts that are achieved, but show the progress that's made along the way, and that can help to, you know, get some good positive feedback going, rather than that negative loop of this thing that I said that came out wrong, or this mistake that I made on this math assignment, or this fumble where I dropped this cup and can't get past it, you know, this mess, and it's ruined my whole day, or it's ruined my whole week, and I just can't get out of it. Be patient, be compassionate, be encouraging. And like I've said before, talk low, talk slow, and don't talk too much. Until next time on A Moment with Marta.